I know that this is not the video that I told some of you that I would be making next, because I told some of you that I would be talking about RTU in my next video. And after I thought about it and slept on it, I've decided that I'm not actually going to talk about RTU. While I agree and disagree with some of the things that he said in those segments, I think that overall they were just a stupid waste of time, and I'm better off just not talking about them. What I will say on the subject though, is that I really just don't have any respect for calling people out in a vague manner and not actually calling them out by name. If you have enough problems with somebody that you're willing to talk shit about them on a live stream in front of your entire audience, you might as well say it with your chest and call them out by name. I just think that that's the respectful thing to do, even if it's probably not the most positive thing to do. Spend all of that time talking about all of the people that it wasn't when you really could have just said who it was. That's really the biggest problem that I took with the entire segment, because I don't care for drama like that. It's really none of my business. I don't even know these people. But I'll quit my rambling so that we can actually get into the parts that people came to see, you know, the watching DSP part.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Snort, snort, snort.
Hogan. Drip.
Snort, snort.
I got the drip. Go.
We start off today with a $1 tip. Why do you criticize LTG for playing with kids' toys when you quite literally play with a bubble blower at age 40? Because I don't. When was the last time you saw me use one of those bubble guns? It's the viewers who pester me if we happen to hit 100 likes on a stream to blow bubbles. It was something silly that I did years ago. I'll be honest, I don't really like doing it anymore because it gets bubbles all over the office. And everything gets sticky and I gotta clean everything in the office. It's a pain in the ass.
So in case you don't know what he's talking about, I'm going to show you the clip. For context and explaining it to my audio-only style listeners, this is DSP on his DSP Reacts channel. Somebody made him watch an LTG Funny Moments clip of LTG using a Thanos-style gauntlet as a prop while he bans people, as he normally does. Unfortunately, the clip is not going to actually include the LTG part, so you can just imagine him inserting the gems and telling people to get that ass banned. It was a little more theatrical than that, but if you're really that curious, you can go check out the Snort Hogan vid. It's definitely worth your view anyway.
I wasn't expecting for a man who's supposed to be a grown man individual playing with a children's toy on his stream, talking about crushing plastic gems and insulting his chat and reveling in the banning, right? Reveling. That is, I never actually thought that that would happen. So I just want to apologize publicly to end my show this week. I'm sorry that this exists.
So now that you've actually heard what he had to say about it, we can now actually address the things that DSP is saying so that he doesn't come across like a huge hypocrite, which he absolutely is. His first line of defense, and one that I've never really understood, is him straight up saying that he doesn't do something and then immediately following it up by telling you that he hasn't done it in a long time, confirming that he did in fact do it. And sometimes it's not even the excuse that it was a long time ago, but instead that it's very infrequent. And if you need an example of this, you can go watch my short, the one where he tries to deny calling Cat mom. He then rapidly switches into throwing his audience completely under the bus, blaming them for why he is in fact blowing bubbles at the age of 41. And I do want to point out that I saw him playing with those bubble guns as recently as this summer when he was, yes, in fact 41, older than 40, which was what the comment had said. But that's kind of off topic, because what I was talking about was how he's throwing his audience underneath the bus because they actually like to see the bubbles for some reason, and they continuously ask to see them when he hits his 100 likes. And because DSP is too much of a coward to actually tell them that he doesn't want to do it and it's not something that he likes to do and is no longer interested in, they continue to ask for it. But also, please notice that the reason that he gave for why he doesn't like blowing the bubbles is not because it's childish, stupid, a waste of time, and meaningless. It's just because the bubbles get all over the office and he has to clean them or things get sticky. So the only reason that he actually doesn't enjoy doing this for his audience is specifically because it makes him do extra work. And I say work, but what we're really talking about here is DSP just having to clean up in front of him, to clean the area that he was just inhabiting for multiple hours in a row. But of course, any sort of cleanliness or hygiene is too much work for DSP. He's not interested in being clean, dude, because being clean does not bring in money.
So I only do it if people really pester me about it, and then we do it because it's something that I was doing for a bit, but I don't really feel like it's a big deal or it's anything that adds any meaningful stuff to the stream. I know people kind of do it to troll now, because like, make a 40-year-old blow bubbles. Let's all ask for bubbles. Let's ask for bubbles. I maybe come to the point where I just say we're not doing it ever again. Okay? So nice try, because the difference here is that this is a rarity thing that we do every once in a while when people pester me for it. That's different than LTG going out actively buying a children's toy, putting it on his hand, putting up giant segments, literally long segments about him playing with his plastic gems and banning people based on the gems. Like,
I actually have to agree with DSP on this one. It is actually way different, because LTG actually went out of his way to get a product that was cheap and topical to his content and make it entertaining. DSP, on the other hand, literally just picked some shit up out of the room that he was currently in that had no business being in there in the first place, that was just leftover shit that Jasper wasn't interested in, and decided to try and incorporate that into his stream so that he didn't waste money on bubbles, as if those bubbles were the things that broke the bank. So again, to reiterate, I have to agree with DSP as much as I don't like to. And please don't make this out to be some sort of LTG love segment. That's not what this is. I've got my problems with Dale just as much as everybody else does. But the segment that he was reacting to was relevant to LTG. The gauntlet is topical to his content, and he did make it entertaining. He very clearly had thought through the segment and had a good time with it. It's way more entertaining to see LTG ban somebody like that than the typical get that ass banned. But I would take both of those over the incessant lean-in manual bans that DSP hits somebody with. And don't even get me started when he tries to talk shit after he bans somebody so that they can't actually respond to him. So not only is he not funny, but he's also a huge coward at the same time.
how do you not understand the difference? Oh, that's right, because you're a fucking idiot. So thanks for the $1 tip, you stupid fucking idiot. Seriously, I mean, anyone with common sense can get an answer out of that without being a moron. I mean, you're a fucking moron. Okay. Nice try, though, because I always like it when people attempt to make me look bad and fail miserably because they're so stupid. Okay.
And this is exactly what I was talking about the other day when I was talking about if you just give DSP enough rope, he'll do the job himself. Because even when he thinks that he's coming off looking good, he's coming out on top, it's absolutely not the case. Any normal human being that watches this segment without context or even with context is going to come away thinking that DSP is a huge asshole. But he just can't see it that way. He's actually bought into his own delusions so hard he genuinely cannot see what reality actually looks like to other people. And that most of the time when he speaks, he comes across as poorly as he does. Well, it's a combination of that and the huge echo chamber that he's built around himself, so much so that he doesn't actually know how to interact with normal human beings anymore. He probably, on some fundamental level, genuinely doesn't understand that he lost in that situation by coming across the way that he did. He just thinks that he owned some troll.
I received a $5 tip from Mr. Puffy Nipples. I heard on one of your videos you said you might bail on the documentary. I hope you won't bail. I want to hear your side of the story. Huh? Okay. Really? You heard that, right? You heard that Phil's bailing on the documentary. That's interesting. It's news to me. That's news to me. I didn't hear that. So that's cool to hear that you heard that somewhere. That's really exceptionally awesome that you're hearing that. When it, you know, it's not anything from me. So there you go. You believe what you want to believe. I can't make you not believe nonsense. All right. Yeah. I don't know what else to say, Mr. Puffy. I mean, someone with such an exceptional name, obviously, you only listen to the correct people, right? I mean.
And you can put that on the board for another interaction that DSP has with someone who actually gave him money and could potentially be a real fan that makes him look like an asshole. Because I know what this is in reference to, and DSP is going to clarify that very soon because he knows exactly what they meant when they said that. The problem is that DSP didn't like the wording because it wasn't exactly what he said. But if you heard about what he said maybe secondhand, or you only half heard it because you know, were busy doing something else, maybe you're an audio style listener and you got distracted, said during the live, then you could absolutely walk away with the conclusion that DSP is potentially going to be dropping out of the dock. That again isn't exactly what he said, but the potential is still actually there. But I'll let DSP explain that.
No, what I said yesterday, all right, was that there are ridiculous conspiracy theories out there. One of the conspiracy theories is that Mike Klum is somehow a secret agent of Keemstar, and Keemstar is paying him money to make these negative documentaries about people like Boogie and me. Like, this is his evil agenda, right? And I'm like, so what exactly evidence do you have of any of this? Because, to my knowledge, Mike Klum is a successful businessman who makes all kinds of content outside of YouTube documentaries. He's trying to now get into YouTube documentaries as something new to do. He's done one that was successful. He wants to branch out and make more. He doesn't want to make the same documentary twice, so my documentary is very different from the Boogie doc. And I have seen absolutely, positively nothing whatsoever as any kind of evidence to show me that Mike Klum is a secret agent of Keemstar. Where do you guys get this shit from?
Ooh, see, but he left out a vital piece of information there. And this might even sound familiar because this was in my last DSP video. This exact segment that he's referencing, because it was in response to 1 Minute Man's concerns. He specifically said that if you could produce some sort of documents that proved that Mike Klum was in cahoots with Keemstar, that he would immediately drop out of the documentary and wash his hands clean of it. You might remember this because he asked for documents and I told him that my printer was broken. It was a haha funny, I promise. But like I said, if you have heard what he said, or if you had heard it secondhand from, let's say, another DSP viewer, it doesn't have to be a detractor, but maybe even another DSP viewer, then I could absolutely see how you came to the conclusion that DSP was looking for reasons to drop out of the documentary. Because given how wild that conspiracy actually is, it sounds like DSP could have been making shit up to try and get out of the dock. But I cut DSP just a bit short here, because he was actually just about to start insulting a bunch of people in his audience once again.
Like, how much fan fiction do you write in your bedrooms? I mean it. Like, what is going on? Can you, like, stop for a minute and realize that what you're doing is absolutely ridiculous and stupid and a waste of everyone's time, including yours? Like, what on the fuck are you talking about?
And sometimes when you watch DSP, or at least when I watch DSP, it's little bits like this that really irk you. Because I just don't understand where he gets off telling other people that the things that they're interested in thinking about, or, you know, theorizing about, or just, you know, genuinely enjoy is a waste of time for them and everybody involved. Because we all know what DSP spends his free time doing, looking at pictures of sweaty wrestlers and spending a bunch of money in hopes to get the picture of the sweaty wrestler that he's looking for. What ultimate goal does that have, DSP? How is that going to better your life or anybody else's? How is that not a huge waste of time as well? Who do you think that you are?
It's just, again, they want to have these, everything has to be drama, right? Everything has to be absolute ridiculous, over-the-top nonsense for the sake of it being ridiculous, over-the-top nonsense. Instead of being realistic or real, or, you know, rooted in reality, we have to have, like, the most ridiculous scenario must be the true one. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's wild, the stuff people come up with. Really, it's absolutely nuts. So,
and I really am trying to not interrupt this much, I promise. But I have to point out how ironic it is that DSP is claiming that other people are the ones that aren't living in reality. That the most ridiculous theory must be the correct one. Because he's the same guy that'll tell you that no one on the internet has ever given him a fair shake, and that every single documentary done about him on the internet is obviously just lies and conspiracy theories and nothing but detractor nonsense. What do you think is more likely, that that's actually the case, or that these people went all on their own and did individual research in all of the places where you can do research about DSP and all came to the same conclusion? It's almost like when you look at all of the evidence doesn't lie. But of course, I'm just another dirty detractor, dude. Clearly the right answer is that everybody is just out to get DSP for his entire life and he did nothing wrong and everything correct. Sound good? Sounds good to me. And by the way, you know Cat agrees.
No, like I said, this was what we were talking about, is that people were saying they're suspecting this. I was like, well, do you have any evidence? If you have evidence, show me right now. And if you can concretely show me evidence that Mike Klum is a secret agent working with Keemstar, I will back out of the documentary. And that's about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everything that we've done and worked on so far about this, and by the way, I have not done, we haven't done any filming or anything yet. We're getting to the point where we're scheduling that out, and I got to let you guys know ahead of time if there's like a week or two when I'm not going to be here consistently, because that's going to happen, just to forewarn all of you. Coming up later this year, probably in a couple months or so, there's going to be weeks where I'm not going to be here every day streaming. There's going to be days off, and there's nothing I can do about that. I need to go film, right? So that's going to happen. But it just makes no sense at all, the stuff that people are saying. If you're going to say nonsensical, controversial, crazy conspiracy, prove it, right? Don't just say, oh, well, I have 472 pieces of circumstantial evidence, none of which actually prove anything, but if you tape them all together with Scotch tape on a wall, and you take those little twine strings, and you take little push pins, and you connect the dots on these things like some insane conspiracy theorist, and if all of this somehow is circumstantially true, the conclusion is that Mike Klum is the secret agent of Keemstar, all right?
Now, I personally don't think that that conspiracy theory is true. I don't actually know either of those people, so I can't honestly speak about it, but I don't think it's true. But it's amusing to me that DSP isn't actually concerned or looking into that conspiracy theory, given how paranoid he usually is about the general public, especially Keemstar. I guess in this instance, his ego has just outweighed his paranoia. And I'm not typically one for conspiracies, but if you can gather at least a couple of pieces of corroborating evidence to a conspiracy theory, I might raise my eyebrow, dude. Because if you get enough pieces, it starts to look less and less coincidental, doesn't it? Again, this isn't some sort of defense for this conspiracy theory where I have actually seen zero evidence. I actually think it's made up nonsense.
I'm just going to tell you, there's a little place for you, all right? It's a little bit down the road from you. It's a big white building. If you go inside and you talk to the security guard, what they're going to do for you, they're going to put a nice jacket on you. It's nice and comfy and loose. In fact, it's so loose that the arms are actually much longer than your arms, and to make sure that you're extra comfy, they'll attach those arms underneath so that you won't have to move around and accidentally dislocate your shoulder. And then get this, they're going to put you in a nice comfy room where the walls have pillows all over them. So you can't hurt yourself. You can literally just bounce off the walls in comfort for the rest of your life in there. It's going to be a really nice place. I recommend you go check it out. The rest of us will be here on stream. Okay?
And of course, we got the patented DSP calling other people crazy and telling them that they need to go seek help and get locked in an asylum and all of the typical shit that DSP says. It's not funny. It's not original. The only person who really needs help in this situation is DSP. And that's really just more for his gambling addiction. Of course, another big ups to Snort Hogan for the clip in this one. I really appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much. Big ups to everybody who watched the video, especially if you made it this far. Thank you so much. And a special shout out to all of my members. I really appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much. Hopefully I'll catch all of you guys in the next video, but until then, make sure that you check out other detractor channels and dive deeper into that. Snortex.